Hello everyone, today we're doing a transmission flush on a 1998 Mercedes Benz C280, and this automatic transmission and engine here has around 130,000 miles on it, right in that neighborhood. And on these Mercedes Benz they got a dipstick tube, and what they have is a cap on that tube. And if you look back here in the engine compartment, it's right here on the passenger side, and most of them have a little red clip, but somebody's already pried this one out and that clip kind of locks it in. But it's got an O-ring seal on it and it goes into that neck. When we check that transmission fluid, you've got to buy the dipstick, because they don't put one in it. And they have a specific one for this transmission. This is one I bought for it. The range on this transmission with the engine running and it hot is right between this mark right here where my thumb's at and this mark right here. So with the engine running up to temp, it should be between those two lines. And this one here, I already checked it. It's right here at the bottom of this line, and the fluid's very nasty, very black. So what we're going to do is we're going to change out the filter. We're going to drop the pan, change the filter, clean the magnet if there's one in the pan, clean the pan, and then what we're going to do is add the AMSOIL synthetic ATF. It's a chemically engineered synthetic. Okay, this is a chemically engineered synthetic that will run 20 to 50 degrees cooler than petroleum base. Meets all the specs for the Mercedes Benz. It's a low viscosity for the newer fuel efficient trannies is what it calls for, and this will give you a lot longer service life and runs cooler. So this is what we'll be putting in today. So we're going to get started on that tranny flush, and we'll drop the pan. We'll get back with you. Okay, we're ready to start draining the tranny fluid out. We got a 5mm hex head Allen wrench, and there's a drain plug down here, and what we're going to do is pop that out, drain out as much as we can. It's good to have a drain plug. It saves a lot of mess. And we can take a look at that fluid. It's just black. It is nasty. Shine a little light on it here while it's draining. So you can kind of see that stuff is just nasty black. It looks like waste oil. I don't believe this one's ever been changed. And hopefully we can get some life out of this transmission yet changing it. So we're going to go ahead and take, looks like there's T46, and there's 6 bolts holding on this transmission pan. They look to be about a T30, and they go right around the perimeter of the pan here. And we're going to take those off next so we can get the filter, clean the pan and all that. So we'll get that off and we'll get back with you. Okay, a special note here on this transmission pan. You're looking at the drain plug right there. There's the front tire on the driver's side. On the passenger front side of this transmission, there's actually 2 screws. There's a little heat shield that goes right by the exhaust to keep the heat away from that transmission. So those 2 screws right there will have to both come out, and then that little keeper there for the tranny pan will come out on the one closest to the transmission pan. So just a special note on that, letting you know. The rest of them are all pretty much straightforward. This is the only one that's got an extra screw on it. Okay, here's the transmission filter. We got the pan off. We're going to pull that down. When you pull it down, there's going to be some fluid coming. Go ahead and empty out that filter. And I got a catch pan here to catch most all that. So we're going to go ahead and clean up that pan and replace the gasket, and we'll get back with you. Take a sample of this oil first. We're going to take this transmission gasket off. That's going to get replaced. The kit comes with a new one. So we'll get that out of the way. Take a quick sample of this to kind of show you the nastiness of this oil. Right there it is, and it basically is black, jet black almost. Dump some more of this fluid in the pan there and you can kind of see it's pretty nasty. It doesn't look like there's a lot of shavings in the pan. For the most part, from what I can tell, it don't look too bad there. I don't see a magnet anywhere. So we're going to clean it up, we're going to put it together, and hopefully we can get some good life out of this tranny yet. So we'll get back with you. Okay, we're going to clean this pan up. I've already pre-cleaned it in my solvent tank, but I want to make sure it's clean and dry. There's nothing in it, no dirt. What I usually use is starting fluid. It's ether. It's a cheap solvent, $1.50, $2 a can, and it leaves behind no residue. It leaves it nice and clean and dry. The only caution with it is don't use it around something hot, or if you're a smoker or you've got to open sparks or flame, because you'll get burned. But it works beautiful for cleaning, and I basically wash the pan down good with that. outside and inside. Washes any of that residue left that's from the solvent tank, gets it good and clean and dry. So just a handy hint for you. Okay, this is the transmission pan gasket, and on the outside it's got little dimples on it that go over that lip and hold it in place. And so it just kind of snaps in place and stays there in pretty good shape. And once you get that on, I wanted to show you these bolts. The pan is sitting right here at the front of the car, just like it would be in the transmission. Same direction, everything. This particular bolt goes right here. This particular clamp goes right here. This is the one that has the special little tab on it for the heat shield, because the exhaust comes right down beside that transmission. So the rest of them are all identical, except for that one that goes on this passenger side, front side of the pan. And with these here, it's hard to over torque them. If you do over torque them, you're going to twist off the bolt. But basically what you're doing is you're tightening that bolt up against the body of the transmission, so you can't really over torque the gasket. It's kind of designed that way, but if you over torque the bolt, you'll twist the bolt off. So, and they take about right around 100 inch-pounds of torque, so just under 10 foot-pounds. So that's about where we'll take these. So we're going to put up the new transmission filter and we'll get back. Okay, we're ready to put this transmission filter in. And right here at the end of my finger there's a slot, and this tab right here on the transmission filter goes in that slot. Make sure you get that in there, otherwise it's going to hold up the pan from going up all the way. We've got an O-ring up here, and basically we're going to slip into that slot there, get that located, and then snap that up in place like that and it'll stay put. And that's it for the transmission filter. Okay, we're going to get the pan and we'll get back. Okay, we're ready to put this transmission pan on. We've taken a rag with ether and cleaned the this rail up here in the bottom, or this mounting base here for the transmission pan. And these bolts, there's 6 of them. They have a little notch in them, and they go right on the edge of the pan, just like so. And you tighten them back into the screw holes that you see there in that transmission housing. So that gives you some idea. We're going to put this on, and we're going to get started with the transmission flush. Get back. Okay, we're looking for the transmission cooler lines. In order to find those, there's a cover here underneath the front part of the engine going up to about where the grill's at, and there's 4 little screws. They're about a 7mm socket head, one in each corner of this plastic piece, and then this plastic piece will drop down. You can get that out of the way. And then there's 2 transmission cooler lines. This one here is a supply up to the transmission, or up to the radiator, and this one over here is the return. So what we want to do is we want to try and flush the oil through the cooler, so we get the cooler flush as well. So this line on the passenger side is the one we're going to take off for the flush. And it'll be coming out of this hose, and from here we'll go down into our drain pan. So one on the passenger side is the one you want to take off. Alright, we'll get back with you when we get ready to do the flush. Okay, we've got transmission ready to do the flush here. We've got the cooler line off, which is on the passenger side of the car, and we're going to start it up. Go ahead. And we're going to go till we see a good color change in the fluid. This fluid is really nasty. And I'm having him run through the gears, reverse and drive, to get some of that new fluid back into the valve body as well. So it might take a while to get this flush done. We might have to do this more than once until we get all that nasty fluid out. We're going to go until we see a good color change to the cherry red. Shut it off. Okay, we had 2 gallon in to start with, and most of that's been run through, and we're starting to get a good color change, but it's not there yet. It's still kind of dirty. So what we're going to do is we're going to add probably close to another 2 gallon, and we're going to go a little further because this stuff was really nasty. So we're going to add some more fluid and we'll get back. We're starting the second half of our flush, and go ahead and start it up. The fluid didn't come quite as clean as I wanted it to right off the bat, so Still kind of dirty. We're hoping it's going to clean up here pretty quick. This one's been kind of a nasty one. There's no doubt that was the original fluid. One thing about it, when that fluid broke down, the transmission followed suit pretty soon afterwards. So. Okay, she's starting to turn on us now a little bit. Starting to look better. Okay, shut it off. Alright, we were sucking the bottom of the pan there. But yeah, we're getting a pretty good color change on it there, so we're gonna hook the hose back up, we're gonna fill up the tranny, take it for a test drive, and we'll be pretty well done with this one. So alrighty, we'll get back. Okay, we're done with this transmission flush. We took the car for a test drive and shifted beautifully for us. We rechecked the level with it hot, and again with this dipstick, it's going to be between those two upper lines, and that's where we've got it full right now. And the fluid's a nice cherry red color, so we got pretty much all the old nasty black stuff out. The other thing is we got a new fill cap and new lock for it, because it was missing the lock on the other one. And some words of advice for filling that transmission. The fill tube is very small in diameter, and the top of it is basically about the size of what this plug is. So I got a small funnel like this to be able to put it in, because if you use a larger neck funnel, the fluid goes in too fast and it'll back up around the outside of the tube and run down the outside of the tube. So just a word of, it takes a little while to fill it with this dinky little thing, but it keeps you from backing up the fluid up the dipstick and running over the outside of the dipstick. So just a few words of wisdom for that. The other thing is, I've done some transmissions that were nasty like this. I mean, this fluid was black. It looked like waste oil, and it was long overdue. There's a total of almost 139,000 miles in this car. And you know, the new fluid, nice cherry red color. I've done several vehicles that have fluid that look just about as bad as what this one did. And you know, this is one from a farm truck I did, 96 Chevrolet with a 4L80E in it. And that had close to 150,000 on it too, and there's a lot of crap settled out in the bottom, you can see that. But by opening up the pan, getting the pan cleaned out and putting in a new filter, you know, we're 6 or 7 years into that, and the fellow's still driving his truck with the same transmission, shifting very well. So it works very well to clean them out and do it the way I do it. I don't need a $3,000 flush machine to do what the transmission can do on its own. So don't be afraid to do these tranny flushes. They're pretty straightforward, and once you do a few of them, you get a few under your belt, they go pretty smooth. But I want to thank you for watching my video, and have a great day. Thank you for watching my YouTube video. Please check out my other videos on my YouTube page. And I want to introduce you to Amsoil's full line of synthetic lubricants. We have the most complete line of synthetics for your automotive and light truck needs, as well as heavy equipment and semis. Full line of synthetics, been around since 1972. And you can check those out at www.donsoil.com. Also, we have a page for looking up fluid capacities, and that one is fluidcapacity.com, and you can go in there and you can get all your fluid capacities of your vehicle. You can print off a list so that you've got all the capacities of your cooling system, your transmission, your engine, all those. And have a great day.